welcome everyone to the virtual Solstice episode 12. So it is me, King Kata, your one of your usual hosts, and you can find me over at Twitch at King_Kata and everywhere else on social media. Then we also have Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna, also known as the Cuddly on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram.
And then our friend Vanilla.
Hi there. You can find me on Twitch at VanillaBDSM, all lowercase, all one word.
Yep, and then for today's topics, what we have to first start off with is actually Devotion. So, for those of you that don't know, Devotion is not a very well-known game. It was released just this week. It's made by Red Candle Studios. So they're the people that made The Tension and some other like kind of indie games. They're a Chinese studio. And the other games have been pretty, not critically acclaimed, but they've done pretty well for what they are trying to achieve. It is horror stuff that they usually make, and Devotion was no exception. It's a horror, but also kind of like creepy, narrative story. You're taken in first person. There's a few jump scares and other stuff like that. They still incorporate that, but it is mostly story driven. Now, what is everyone's experience with Devotion? Because I played the whole thing.
I watched you play part of it and have played part of it with my friends.
Ooh, wonderful. Okay, Nana, have you done anything with it?
I missed you play it, and yeah, that's about it.
Gotcha. So then the first thing that we want to kind of talk about, or the most interesting part, is just the game itself. Because to kind of like review, Devotion in a really fair way, and I'll say fair because of the next topic that we're going to talk about. But Devotion was a very well crafted game. It's kind of rare to find these days a really good storytelling game, because you have the Telltale games, you have some other things that are just kind of like narrative. It's mostly story. It's kind of like you're doing a movie anyway. But it's hard to make like a really well-crafted experience. What we've seen just recently, I believe the other one when we talked about in other podcasts was Grease. Gris. Some people pronounce it differently. It's a little bit awkward, but that one was
in Spanish, not Spanish, French, I believe. I really don't know.
Yeah,
really?
That sounds right. I took a French class last semester. Oof. I should know this.
Damn. Well, I only took a French class in 8th grade. So, oui, le baguette, monsieur. So anyway, back to Devotion. It's a really well-crafted game. And I think it's great to see like more works that are really passionate and that achieve what they're going for, because we're getting an oversaturation of battle royale games. Of course, everyone knows that. And we also get saturation of, a lot of just like throwing games where people are just making it. It's not like there's, you're just going like kind of for practice. That it's not a great product, and usually just a younger audience or something will play that if it's free to play or if it's made on, Unity or some kind of Flash game. But, with something like this, it's really wonderful to see just all the beauty that you can put into a game that puts it in the horror genre, right? Because usually horror games are not famous for being, beautiful or well-designed, even take the most famous Amnesia, The Dark Descent, that was released, I don't even know, like 12 years ago, something like that. It's been held up as like kind of like the standard for horror games, where you're first person, you gotta escape, you don't have much, and you kind of got a bunch of other things stemming from that, like Dead by Daylight, which is probably the most popular horror game right now.
I love Amnesia.
Same.
Yeah, and if you look back, like Amnesia is still a fine product, but when you look at it, it's like there's a reason why it's kind of the standard, because it doesn't do anything special. Like it's got a reasonable story. It's nothing that's like really, it's just like, oh, you're a guy that's kind of like fucked up and things happen, etc.
Yeah.
And the environments itself are still quite bland. It's just like, it is a dungeon, and then there's a couple of rooms that you got to run and some places that you got to hide. But
it doesn't do anything
special.
specific like strongly, but it does it all very well.
Yeah. And then, you know, when you talk about graphics, like, yes, it's gotten kind of old, and it's just, you know, it's still just what it is.
It was pretty at the time, though. I actually really enjoyed the graphics at the time, and thought that it was, even though it was a horror game, it was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty on top of the graphics, and just, I don't know, I still enjoy the visuals, but I also am a huge fan of, like, older graphics.
Yeah, it does depend, because there's some stuff that will hold up. You know, especially the pixelation style. There's still some games that, you know, try to copy that in modern ways and do it very well. But yeah, definitely does depend on the product. So, you know, with Devotion, in a way that I wanted to talk about is that the thing that they did really right was, one, setting the atmosphere. The atmosphere of that game is perfectly creepy, perfectly eerie. The whole time that I'm playing it, I was on edge, except for, and I'll talk about, like, without spoiling, the second half of the game, because it's a fairly short game, like 3.5 to 4 hours, kind of, or 3 to 4 hours, if you're gonna play it through yourself. Which I still would recommend. For me, I'd say like it's about a 7 out of 10 game, but it's still worth talking about. Is that what they do really well is when you're going through that atmosphere, they set up with like the graphics, everything, the candles, you know, everything to do with like lighting and all the effects, and when they switch up the scene on you, when they do kind of like the psychological play on your head, they do that very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you brought up setting, that most of that is just derived a lot from the pacing of it. I noticed when I watched you play that it's paced extremely well. There's not too many jump scares on top of each other, so it doesn't feel stale, and the suspense and the psychological part of it, just, it's very well like paced out.
And that's what I was gonna say, is that I had an issue with the pacing, because, and this is the issue, because the first half of the game was beautifully paced, exactly what you said. Like, it just got just the right amount of jump scares. It had you on the edge of my, like, I had it really at the edge of my seat. Like, I usually don't even enjoy horror games. I was like hard pumping. I didn't know where to go. It was, you know, it was a really great experience, and it really gives you an like actual fear. Like, I know, like, you know, when you're playing a game, yeah, you're not gonna die or whatever, but it's still like, it gave you that feeling, which is what you're ultimately looking for in a horror game. But the second half, like, after I reached a certain point, like, things were still creepy, but I never felt any danger. I never felt anything else coming up. There was not another like planned jump scare. So that's the only issue that I had. I actually had an issue with it not having enough jump scares near the second part of the game. And it kind of sucks, because they could have easily done it. You know, and perhaps it was intentional. I could see it being intentional, because they did. Again, I'm not going to go into like any like spoilers, but they did a very peculiar thing on how they wanted to take the second half of the game. However, I still think it would have been better if they'd thrown in like 1 or 2 extra scares to just like, you know, really get you and keep you on that, like, what is going to happen. But then, you know, narrative-wise, again, I'm not going to go into in depth of the actual story, because I do recommend everyone to play it yourselves. That it is very interesting, but you'll also have to go into the game like knowing that you want to experience a story. So, like, for example, you can go into Fallout or Skyrim, and all the little notes that you find, not give any shits about what's written on it, because I didn't. I never played those games for that reason, right? So you get a new notebook, it's like, okay, great, new notebook, blah blah blah, you're done. On this game, that is like actually the interesting part. You uncovering the secrets of what happens with your family, because the basic premise, I can give that away because you find it in the beginning of the game, is you're in 1980s in Thailand, and you're the father of a family of just like your wife and your daughter. So finding out the little things about like what happens like on what your daughter wrote, or you know, a sheet about like the finances of what happened on like a certain year, it's actually interesting, because the story, like the story pacing was fantastic. I just didn't had an issue with the, with the pacing of the actual jump scares. But story-wise, it was beautifully done. And that's why I think it's absolutely, fantastic in that regard. And then I think for like as a future note, when you're doing horror games, because I really want to see more horror games, in this aspect being created, or any developers that are kind of thinking about doing that, to kind of follow suit on a way that doing a story-driven thing is very wonderful, but you should never forget about the pacing of, the actual scares and your eeriness, in that way. Does anybody have any other thoughts about Devotion?
No.
I was gonna say I liked it. There are other horror types that I like a little bit better, but that being said, they did the type of horror game that they developed very well, at least for the parts that I played or have seen.
Yeah. All right. Then we can move on to the next topic, which is Metro Exodus. So I'll also give just a little bit of a premise about this one. So Metro, the Metro series has usually been just a linear, like, first-person shooter based in Russia, where it's like a soldier, and it's kind of like post-apocalyptic, and you're trying to survive. And there's been 2 games in the past series, but Exodus is the first one to go a little bit more open world. It's not completely open world. It's not like a Fallout game. But it does give you more exploration. I believe it's like split into about four like major sections that you travel by. So what we kind of want to discuss with Metro Exodus is that first, it kind of went slightly under the radar, just because of so many big releases on the last week. Like even our own podcast was way longer because there's so many topics to cover. That it was a little bit like buried underneath. Now Exodus itself is doing fairly well for itself. Like it had enough sales, and it's doing, just fine with, with its numbers, like on Twitch and everything. Just the thing that didn't get is, I guess, like this boom that I guess it kind of needed, because I believe most of the people that were already fans of the series, but you didn't get a lot of new people playing it.
And I think that's because of the overshadow with like Apex Legends and, I mean, all the games we talked about last week.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's still like the peak of Apex Legends. Fortnite has been doing a huge marketing campaign to counter that. And then you still even have like the Anthem campaign still going through. So like all the 3, I guess, marketing games that you're seeing ads for are those 3. And yeah, you just didn't get as much to see this game like kind of flourish. So I still have to like play it myself, but so far I think the consensus has just been that it's nice to have it be a little bit innovating in the way that, like, for the series, not in terms of gaming, but for the series to have a little bit more open world is exciting. But they also do keep your ammo scarce. It does stay true to the Metro series, so you're not just out there in fall, like where you grab a bunch of mini nukes and you can destroy everything. No, like you do have to put in the work to go through all this. It's it looks like a fun experience. It just doesn't hit everything quite right because they went open world.
Yeah.
So
for me, when I watched the commercial for it, it looks like everything I wanted out of Fallout. Personally.
Like 76 or just like the series in general?
Like 4, I think. Because it's a little bit more closed world, so you don't have to like. It's not like Skyrim where you have to go and explore literally everything to find the things in the game. But the graphics look updated. The shooting looks really satisfying. You can customize all of your weapons. It just, I don't know. I kind of want to play it just to compare it. But it looks like it did some things really well that Fallout also did well, but it looks like an updated Fallout.
I can see that in the way of the graphics, and on it, doing like a bit more of the open world. But it's weird because when I talk about like the other Metro games that because I did play those, is that they feel very claustrophobic with the tunnels and everything, that you kind of gotta go into with a certain strategy. And it's funny because I guess this is one of the biggest feels about a Metro game for me, is that you're feeling claustrophobic. You don't have much room to know where to go, and that's what it kind of is with it being kind of linear and keeping you in the tunnels. Like, you can still explore the tunnels, but it does keep you pretty planted on what to do. So that's why I feel it feels like you can still see the Metro side of it, but it feels like a very different game. And maybe that's why you're talking about like why it kind of feels like the fall that you wanted, is that it is quite different from its predecessors. And Anna, do you know anything about these series?
No, not at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
To be fair, I also don't know anything about the series. I just watched the commercial for it.
Yeah, I had at least play some of the older games. I still need to maybe revisit this slightly on a future podcast if I can actually get to it, but we shall see. Well, then it's about majorly where we could talk about it. It's not that it's about, again, another sort of, it feels a bit weird, so if you're a fan of Metro, you're probably still going to like it. It's just going to be a little bit different. And if you're new to the series, I believe it's still quite a nice experience. Again, it just has some a little bit of flaws with the game. So the next one coming up is Trials Rising. So that has not yet been released. It's supposed to release next week. But Trials was originally in the Xbox store when the Xbox 360 first came out. Then you had Trials Fusion, which was not that great. It was then, I think it was by Uplay. Yeah, it was by Activision. That it got published and everything. So it just had like a lot of bugs. It wasn't as fun as the others. But the original Trials has always kind of been in the hearts of everyone. As a single player, it is what it is. If you don't know what Trials is, it's a single player 2D like motor crossing game, but it's literally made so that you have to like go through the maps in a specific way. So there you do a bunch of flips and everything. Like, it's all based around like the physics of the motorcycle. So it's a very fun formula, quite a unique take on, like, instead of doing like a 2D platformer, why don't you do a 2D platformer, but that's, a racing game. So that's why I think it's a very interesting one, and people are really looking forward to Rising, because it seems so far, like, we won't know for sure until next week, where we'll probably revisit just a little bit to talk about how the reception was, that, it seems like they've seen the flaws, they're trying to improve on it, and it's going to be a very fun, like, single-player and multiplayer experience with just, like, a lot of new tools. Okay. The thing that we want to see is more easier modding for it and be able to do, like, maps, and that's the one that we're not... at least I'm not entirely sure on that happening. So if that does happen, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just some more kind of like to have awareness too, because that's another one, because of all the big games that have been releasing that people don't know about, and you should be on the lookout for, because Trials Rising, hopefully if it doesn't come with a lot of bugs, will be a very fun experience for anyone to play.
Yeah.
And I believe, do anybody else know anything about it or have any thoughts? That one is a pretty quick one.
It looks like fun.
Well, nice weather we're having.
I was gonna say, like, I remember playing the original Trials at like sleepovers with my friends.
Oh, dude, we can talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
trade off every time, and yeah, it was just like, there's some fond memories there. I didn't know that they had released another one since, and are going to be releasing one, so I'm actually very excited about that.
Yeah, you should look out for this new one, because Fusion just wasn't that greatly recepted, and it just had a lot of issues. So, yeah, this one should be way better. And
gotcha.
yeah, for me, for my Trials experience, that was still when I was playing on consoles before the PC.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep, same.
yeah, mostly I was just I didn't play that much with friends. I actually just played with like family that came to visit, because that was a time where a lot of family came to visit from Brazil. And yeah, there was a lot of wonderful memories just like going at it and making fun of each other, right? Like you'd go be failing, so I was like, no, let me give it a try, like it looks easy, why can't you do that? They fail, you're
and
like, not so easy, huh? Yeah. It's a great couch game as well. Like Trials, and this one, even though you have a lot of online capability, if you have like couch gaming or anyone like coming over, that's one to look out for. So like after you're done playing Smash for a little while, go ahead and give Trials Rising a try.
Yeah, we used to do Trials and Peggle.
Wait, in Peggle?
Yeah. You ever played Peggle? Have you guys never played Peggle? It's one of the PopCap games, the same people that made Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh.
You basically drop a pinball from the top of the screen in a certain direction, and you try and hit all of the... there's orange blocks and blue blocks, and you're trying to light up all of the orange blocks by hitting them with the pinball.
So
and
it's
you
like
have a certain number of pinballs, and like there's a bucket at the bottom that if it drops into, it gives it back to you. That was like... I loved that game. How do you guys not know about it?
So it's like Bejeweled, but in pinball.
But no. It's made by the same company, but no.
It's made by the same company. No, I want to... Come on.
It's different. You got to play Peggle on stream sometime. I
don't think anybody... Dude, if I'm playing anything along that sorts, the only thing people care about is Tetris 99.
Fucking Tetris 99.
Tetris Fortnite, only battle royale that matters.
Oh my god, man. That might be like a recurring meme. Tetris, dude. Yeah. I'm still waiting for Pong 99. We'll see.
I would actually I would probably play that, to be honest.
Pong, I would give it a try.
Pong 99.
Because it's literally the simplest. Okay, so what I like in like a sport is playing with rackets.
Yeah.
And so Pong is literally the most simplistic way of having two, I guess, rackets where you have rectangles hitting a ball back and forth. So I would play that. All right, so then the last kind of news topic that we have in terms of like just being relevant is God Eater 3. So God Eater 3 was released this week. It's most comparable to Monster Hunter. So it's originally been a series that are released on a mobile and well, no, not mobile, sorry, on mobile handheld like consoles. And they're still quite popular in like in Japan and all that other stuff. And it's very comparable to Monster Hunter in the way that you're hunting like big bad guys. You still have like your RPG, a bunch of things that you're doing. You have different guns and all that different type of stuff. It's a very fun and fluid experience. So the difference is mostly that it has faster action combat. So it's very like anime-esque. You do a lot in God Eater, while in Monster Hunter you're tracking a lot. While God Eater just kind of throws you in there and just says, go blow that shit up. Go use your big ass gun. Because literally you're killing gods in a sense. That's why it's called that. And I didn't get to play the third one yet. It's only been out for a little bit. So far, the reception been like as good as you expect. And what I mean about that is that any game that kind of does like a monster style-esque thing is never going to be, I guess, perfect. They all have their flaws. So in this way, I think it's still definitely worth looking into, perhaps buying it when it's on sale, or giving one of the older games a try. But what they did differently is that they actually developed God Eater 3 for PC in mind. So it looks way better graphically than the others, and it performs better as well. And it does have quite a bit more variety in like the guns and like characters, just not too much in monsters. However, people have said that it's not too big of a deal. I'm definitely going to be thinking about doing that one and kind of seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like an interesting one to just look out for. I do want to actually get a proper or a little bit more better review, in the future podcast once we have a little bit more, news and everything on that.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know anything about the series?
No.
No. Okay.
I've never heard of it either.
Yeah, I think like now after the Nintendo Direct, you're just like I don't know what to talk about. It's been we talked about everything.
Yeah. I'm kind of useless until either another Direct or E3 comes up because.
Oh wait, when is E3?
June.
Oh, it's in June.
Yeah,
we're gonna. Depending on how many news gets released there, I might have to split it up into 2 podcasts. We'll see.
I mean, if we want to talk about things that I've been getting into recently,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have re-downloaded Pocket Camp, which is the mobile Animal Crossing game, and I've been playing that all day when I haven't been asleep. I am obsessed.
I played a little bit of that when it got released, and then realized I was pouring way too much time into it, and so I had to delete it.
I'm pouring too much time into it.
Yeah. See. Okay. Let's just talk about mobile gaming in general, because I also have a little bit of experience in that recently. So, first off, I'm not a fan of mobile gaming. I am that usual PC gamer that's like I don't want to, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just dislike it because it does feel that I can be more productive, I guess, with the other games instead of using the mobile game. But when I first moved into Austin, when I didn't have much to do, still only working 35 hours, unlike now where I work 80. I did have a lot more time to spend, and I did fall into that market of looking into mobile games, and so the ones I usually played and waste my time is I don't even remember the name. I'm sorry, but it was the usual anime sort of cafe carrying place yeah, it's but you're trying to seduce your senpais while also building your cafe and serving customers.
Oh my god, I want to play it.
and it was actually still it was fun, but
Kevin just out here looking for senpais.
But it was too much. Yeah, it was it was too much just to sit there because I'd wake up and I'd play that fucking thing for an hour before going to brush my teeth and do what I needed to do.
I feel so attacked right now.
Is that what you do in Pocket Camp?
I may or may not be playing it right now.
Oh my god. Well, I see how much professionalism you're using on the podcast there, Anna.
See, for me, for mobile games, my favorite is rhythm games.
I love rhythm games so much.
I do love the shit out of rhythm games on mobile.
My all-time favorite is Cytus. Cytus.
I've not.
And they also made a game called Demo.
I know about Demo.
Yeah, you need to play Cytus. It's so good. Basically, little bubbles pop up, and there's a bar that travels up and down the screen, and you tap the bubbles when the bar goes across them. Ooh. And it's really fun. I also I beat all of them. I did all the songs. I beat all of them. And then they made a Cytus 2, and I've been working on that.
Oh, that's
I'm very happy. It's very good.
Okay,
I like it a lot.
That's something to look into. Because for me, my experience with mobile rhythm games was flashback to the release of the original iPhone. I was the kid getting the top 50 scores in Tap Tap Revenge.
Me.
Oh, even before that, the DS. Actually, no, that's not before that. What am I doing? Is it? Meh. But what is it? Rhythm. There's some rhythm game for it.
I'm just thinking of WireWare, man. I don't know where you're going.
Hold on. Let me.
I mean, I can say that the Tap Tap Revenge games were amazing for the initial release of the iPhones.
Rhythm Heaven, that's it.
Okay.
I love that game.
Well, what is
It's
it?
so nice. It's kind of like WarioWare, but as a rhythm game.
Okay.
It's very enjoyable. I'd
Huh.
say Google it, watch it. There's probably some like cartridges on sale that you could pick up for pretty cheap.
All right. Well, I mean, what I was gonna say about the Tap of Revenge, like they did so many, like they didn't keep updating one. You know, they did the classic thing in the initial where it's like, no, just release a second one, like Angry Birds 2, Angry Birds Star Wars. You know, you didn't get like a consistent just one app that kept ultimately updating. That's why I think it died, and it sucks because I think it's still a very fun thing that could be done.
If
It's
you like
just-
Tap Revenge, go play Demo.
Demo's so good. It's on the
It's so
Nintendo
good.
Switch too, and there's a demo
What?
on there. And there's another
Okay.
one
That's
made by the
awesome.
same people called Vose, and I highly recommend that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are
Yep.
on the Switch, and both of them have demos.
They're very good.
All right, might have to give that a try then. Yeah, and here's my experience with the mobile gaming recently. So, I only went back into it because one time where I wasn't feeling very productive. It was a sad day, and I was like, you know what? I don't even have the energy to go like Twitch to where I love to go and talk to people, and I was like, you know what? Downloading fucking Mobile Legends. So I was also salty because I played League recently, of course, and it never goes well. So I'm like, I'm gonna download it. It sucks because I loved it because people playing on mobile is one, all over the world. Second, people have lag issues. Third, it's mobile. And fourth,
Damn, Kevin.
they don't usually
Salt on
have
it
like the
more.
skill. No, they don't usually have the skills. So which means, here's my point, which means as an experienced League player, it was so easy to just kill everyone and win the game. Like, and it's satisfying, and I hate it because I'm like, I realize
my
that I'm
name's
way
Kevin.
overqualified.
I'm just so good at mobile games.
It's not a bragging point. I'm just
Sounds like it.
no. Oh my god! Listen, Linda. No, it's not like a bragging point. It's just I'm legitimately. Like, I just had way more experience, and it was just too easy to do, and I just kind of hate it because it was like that. Like, it was a cycle of just instant gratification over again. You're just like,
all these mobile gamers are just so easy to kill.
yeah. I'll hold that statement. I will stay true to that one, but only like in the beginning levels, I guess. They even have some kind of LCS. I don't know. I don't know how the scene is. It seems weird as hell. I know nothing about it. I'm not gonna speak over it because that might catch me some flack too. But at least for like just normally playing, it was way too easy to win everything. But no, I mean, it was a good time waster, I guess. I mean, that's also the thing that I got realized. Like, mobile games are usually a lot of big time wasters when you're on the commute or something.
Yes.
And because I have so much to take care of, and even doing social media for like the broadcasting, like there's no time for it. So I haven't touched it again in weeks.
Just do what I do. Do it while you're doing other things.
Wow. Okay.
There you
So
go.
let me just play Mobile Legends.
Just start
as I'm
mobile
streaming
gaming
Dark
at
Souls.
work.
Yes.
Just start
No.
mobile gaming at work. It'll be fine.
That's
They'll
too
love
much
it.
multitasking.
I'm sure your boss will understand why most of
Yeah.
your attention is on a game instead of, your work.
No. I get my work done. So then, to move on kind of from that, we wanted to a little bit talk about some other random topics. So I kind of want to, ease off on this very low news podcast, but we don't want it to make it like too short for you guys. So, the interesting that I come up with is nightly and morning routines, because there's a decent amount of people that will talk about their routines, and I feel like everyone has a very different routine.
Yeah.
And it always depends. Like, I mean, there's been also different stages of life where I've been where it's completely different. Like, I can talk about days where I was binge watching anime, and during like the summer, falling asleep at like when the sun is coming up because I'm like, I just wanted to watch one more episode, and it turned into 16. as I have
Me.
the popcorn.
It's a big college mood right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they were nice. I don't regret those days. Like they were. I enjoyed the series that I watched, but just like, you're watching the sun come up, and you're just like,
It's
wow, I
bedtime.
really did this.
Kind of look out there like, okay, all right. I guess I'm going to bed now.
Time to purchase a sleep mask.
No, you just use blackout curtains.
Yes.
I did have that, yeah. No, but even with it's you can still see the light seep through, dude. But so I'll start off with, I guess, like let's go with morning routines. All right, so my morning routines consist of just literally like I'll set an alarm, and I don't know how many alarms you guys set. This is what I want.
Oh
this
my
is what I'm really
God.
curious about, right? So I used to in middle school set like fucking 12 alarms, like for some in the morning, some like when I needed to catch the bus and when I needed to come back. Can't do that shit anymore. I have two alarms. I have one to trigger it, so I can snooze it once, and then a second one to go off in case I don't snooze or whatever, I turn it off. And I only have a 20-minute period, so I put it to wake up. 20-minute period where I can kind of be like a lazy, like in bed, just like I don't want to get up yet. I'm not awake. It takes time to reboot, okay? And then after that, that's when I actually, like, as soon as the second one, I'm like, okay, I need to get the fuck up, because if I don't, I'll miss my shuttle, and I need the shuttle to go to work. So it's ultra important for me. Or else, I mean, I can go to work, but I'm gonna have to pay for parking, and it's gonna cost a lot. And so it's not the end of the world, but it's still like I need to make it, right? So I do that, and I actually like, just make myself get up, and it's very quick. Like just brush your teeth, pee if you have to, get the clothes on, fucking go in the car, and I start a long ass commute. And that is usually my morning, because I only get to sleep more on Friday nights.
So, I'm going to go on about alarms here for a bit.
Oh yeah. Let's hear that.
Oh no.
So, you know how I took a nap and woke up like right before we started the podcast, right? My absolute latest alarm for that was 2 p.m. And that would have put me about 5-10 minutes late into the podcast. But I also had one for 1:55, 1:50, 1:45, 1:40. And the reason I do this is because my dumbass does not hit the snooze button. I hit the off button every single time without fail. I, in the morning, aim to get up at 6 a.m., but the absolute latest I will allow myself to get up is 6:45 a.m. because that gives me just enough time to get ready before 8 a.m., which is when I start my streams, because for those of you who don't know, I do live in Japan, but I stream on a central time zone schedule. And
probably because you can't speak Japanese, right?
Hmm?
Probably because you can't speak Japanese yet.
Well, if I did it like evenings my time, that would be like very middle of the night for you guys. Like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to wake up at 6, I'm not even joking. I have 6, 5:55, 5:50, 5:45, 5:30, 5:25, 5:15, and 5. And then after that, I also have 6:15, 6:20, 6:30, and 6:45 to make sure that I'm up in time.
Is that actually 12 alarms? You do the same thing I did in middle school. It's 12 alarms.
I used to do that because I would turn off the alarm clock or unplug it, or there was one time, so I've tried out so many different alarm clocks, one of which was one that like vibrated on the table, so it made a lot of noise. And I woke up with that one morning. Across my room, there was a dent in the wall, and it was shattered on the ground. And so since then, I ended up, for a Christmas present, my parents got me this alarm clock that has a big old light on it. And so, like, it starts shining, what is it, like 20 minutes before it, like, is supposed to wake me up, and it'll gradually get lighter. And I found out that with that, it makes me way less of an asshole when I wake up. So I usually just set 2 alarms with that, and then get up, go put some hot water on for my coffee, put 2 eggs in the frying pan, and then go brush my teeth, take my vitamins, come back out, flip the eggs, make my coffee, throw a bagel in the toaster, and then have my breakfast. And then usually either leave for school or work on homework.
That's a very American breakfast, though.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, like in the chat, I do want to mention that one. So Kurt mentioned that I counted mine and I have 37. God. So,
how?
So for those of you listening during the podcast, like, you know, hit us up on social media on any of our accounts and tell us how many alarms you have, because that's an interesting thing to know.
Or just drop it in the comments on the YouTube video.
Oh yeah, anywhere. Just hit us up on anywhere with with that. And yeah, about like the breakfast, like it is very American, because like I don't do any of that for breakfast. Like, I mean, I now have a set breakfast. Like at work, we have like a cafeteria, so it is still very Americanized. But I try to like eliminate that at all. So what I usually get is I have like fresh orange juice, most days. I get an English muffin that I use, you know, cream cheese on. It used to be avocados, but then they didn't provide that, honestly, because I love the shit out of avocados. I just want to buy them myself for it. And I do that, and whatever they have, like, they're special. So sometimes I do like pancakes and other stuff like that. I'll eat that. But yeah, very like minimal breakfast.
Gotta be honest, I can never get behind cream cheese. With like bagels and stuff like that, I just put butter on them, or like jelly.
The only time I like cream cheese on bagels is when they're blueberry bagels. Anything else, it needs to be different toppings.
Blueberry bagels are my favorite. My mom sends me she'll send me care packages sometimes, and I have her send the blueberry bagels from the bagel shop in my hometown, because they're the best blueberry bagels that I've ever had. They're so good.
I mean, I'm not about like the blueberry bagel, because I'm just not a big fan of bagels. I also worked at Starbucks for 1.5 years. Okay, I've been around enough bagels in my time to just not like them that much. But just getting something. Like I'm thinking back to like Chicago. I'm like, man, if I could just get a cup of like Noodles and Company, or fucking Luminati's deep dish pizza, just like delivered to where I am now.
I got very lucky because like they have a Voodoo Donuts in Denver, and I love Voodoo so much.
Yeah, you want to know what I miss from Nebraska?
What's that?
Voodoo Taco.
Okay.
It was my favorite taco place ever. They had these fried chicken tacos. Oh my god, I miss them so much.
Voodoo Taco.
Yes.
Is it the same like brand, or just like totally different, but they just use the same name?
I have no idea. I've never heard of Voodoo Donut before.
That'd be interesting. They could monopolize food.
You've never heard of Voodoo Donuts?
No.
Yeah.
I think they originated in Portland, because I've been to the Portland one and the Denver one, and they are both so damn good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I might have mentioned it, but I went to Voodoo Donuts.
Donut hater.
But only when I was like, twice, when I was drunk and sober, and I just couldn't get behind it. Donuts in general.
One of my girlfriend and I's first dates, we ended up going to Voodoo Donuts, and I still have a mug from there. It's got a hole through the middle. I love that mug.
Wait, it has a hole through the middle? Wait, what?
Yeah, so it's like, so you've got your regular mug, right, with the handle and everything. And then the outsides form a tube in the middle of it. Yeah, if you want, I can send a picture of it.
Please do.
Yeah, that sounds... I can't... For some reason, I can't picture it. I'm just...
shit. It's right here next to my desk, because I had coffee in it this morning.
Because it just sounds like what I'm imagining. It's probably really dumb. It's just like one of those tubes that, like, you know, you're doing like science experiments, but it's just as if that was like right in the middle, like just like for no reason.
Speaking of morning, though, back onto the topic of routines.
Oh, yeah.
After I fight with my my alarms for anywhere from 1 hour to an hour and a half, I'll finally stumble out of bed. And usually the first thing that I do is I get caught up on any notifications that I have, see if anything happened while I was asleep that I need to address, like, as soon as possible. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm grabbing my clothes and I'm hopping in the shower every single day without fail. Then I sit at my desk for 20 minutes doing my hair and makeup, and then I'm ready for the day. I don't even have breakfast until I'm done with all of that because I just don't have the time for it. And my breakfasts are just these silly little store-bought shakes that I keep in my fridge that sits right next to my desk. And then I don't leave my desk until like late afternoon. That's my day.
What I was going to add to that is that I forgot to kind of mention that because I have to continue my morning is I had a long commute to work, so I drive for 40 minutes, usually just listening to whatever song I'm into or songs. You know, of course I sing in the car. I'm that person. Love singing in the car.
It's the best.
But then I stop at a like parking lot to then take a shuttle to then go to the office that I work at. And the shuttle takes usually like 20 minutes because traffic's heavy. Now, during the shuttle, I could use to check on all my notifications, but it's so damn tired from the driving that I nap. And then when I get to the office is when I check all my notifications, like while I'm like getting the day started, getting my breakfast and all that stuff.
I always do it like right when I first wake up because
I used to.
Since I wake up at anywhere from 6 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. my time, that would be 3 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. And because of that, so much goes on during those 6 to 8 hours that I'm asleep where I need to check my notifications before I do anything else because whatever happened during your guys' day determines what I do for the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that totally does. 'Cause I used to do something similar when I like was not taking like the 9 to 5. Because I used to work in the evenings. Well, I mean, like kind of swing shift. That's when I could actually like wake up, look at all my shit, and like, okay, now I gotta go drive. Because the drive without traffic was half an hour. It's half an hour. I could drive straight there, park somewhere. It was great. Now it takes an hour and 10 minutes. So it's just, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, both the internships I had were an hour plus each way. And I never want to work for a place that I have to drive a full hour plus each way every day. Because that's just like, it's an extra like 2.5 to 3 hours out of your day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like right now, it just makes no sense for me to move out closer because me and like the family are gonna move. Still like in a, within the same city, but we're gonna get out of like the house that we're currently at in May. So like I have 3 months. Like why would I leave now when I could just stay here?
Yeah.
Then figure out what place to get and hopefully be closer to work. Because getting. And this is a big thing just in general, like for anyone, like when you're talking about like jobs and jobs that you want, it's totally okay to move for your job if you're already kind of like paying something, you're trying to get something better, but you should totally do it, when it makes sense financially, like you're going to get a little bit better and stay closer because a long commute is deathly, like, to your mental health. Getting a long commute just like it gives so much stress and like you feel like you have much less time because you're using so much of it to travel. Getting a more time back in your day, just literally staying at home or doing whatever you want or going out, being able to do stuff with friends, is very good to do.
Well, and also like the drive itself is taxing. Like I live near Denver, which is a very, very traffic heavy area.
Yeah.
And so it's always like I'm constantly on edge when I'm driving in that kind of traffic. And so it's just, it gets exhausting, like day in, day out.
And when you
just,
don't,
oh,
yeah, when you don't, because here's the thing, I got to a point where I don't take it like stressfully anymore. But that's also dangerous because then I'm just like, okay, well, if I get into an accident, then it's gonna fucking happen, I guess. I'm
Yikes.
zombie driving here, staying in the line. Yeah, like it's really bad. Like that's what happens when you commute all the time.
Yeah,
but usually
I started getting into that near the end of my internships.
Yeah, because it usually, I mean, I guess it's still like safer than being constantly on stress because, usually because there's so much traffic, like you're all going slow anyway. So the worst thing that can happen is you rear end someone because you weren't like awake enough.
Yeah.
But usually it's like a tap. It's not like I'm going 50 and then ram into some car, but yeah, it's still really really detrimental. And I was living close a little bit to work. Like the closest that I lived to work was 5 minutes. God, that was amazing. I never really liked my first job. That was during my first job. But I mean, the drive was always just easy. Like I could go in and then boom, I'm out. Especially when it's at when there's snow. Like if you live somewhere near snow, like good God, please live closer to your work.
Yeah.
Because for me, I some people like literally have to go like out like 1 hour before like start turning on their car like or the heater or whatever to then go clear the windshields.
Yeah.
I never did that, so I fucking because I'm like, yeah, I'm 5 minutes away, so I'd like just huddle up, like make a little square so that I'm driving like with a little like circle, which is super dangerous, by the way. You shouldn't do this, but because I'm like 5 minutes, I'm like I can just make it home, like cold as fuck too in a car, like just get there and get into my blanket. So no, please, if you live in a snow area, get closer to your workplace. super dad PSA.
Yeah.
Plus it's just
100%.
safer because driving on ice and snow can get really, really bad really, really fast.
Yeah, especially if there's a lot of traffic, because there's a lot of stupid drivers out there.
Oh, there's a lot of stupid drivers out
100%.
there. And then there's a lot of
100%.
people that just have bad cars that don't drive on ice and snow well.
Yeah. Like, my car right now does not drive on snow super great, but I also grew up driving a stick shift, like, in Montana sometimes, and would just play around in the snow, so I've gotten sort of used to driving snow and ice.
Yeah, I never like I still can drive on snow. It's I mean you I guess you can kind of call it getting used to it, but it's still always annoying. Like you still have to reroute your brain because you can't floor anything. You just
No, you can't.
You have to do it super slow. So that's what I hate because like sometimes I won't be like paying attention like too much. So as soon as you're trying to go, like you still need to like slowly, like as much as you can, stop yourself. Instead of going fast. Because as soon as you go fast, you go faster because it won't stop. And then you actually hit them worse.
Yeah.
That's what's terrifying.
I just thought of a topic.
Oh,
What
yeah,
you
go
got?
ahead.
It's not gaming whatsoever, but I just got a notification from YouTube for it.
All right, we have 5 minutes left. Let's go.
The Fruits Basket remake is being released this year.
Yo, they're making a Fruits Basket remake?
Yes.
Really?
They are
Is
using
it actually going to have a satisfying ending?
They're using the original they're using the original story, but it's all new voice actors, all new artists, all new everything, and it's so pretty. I cannot wait for it. Fruits Basket is one of the
I have
first
to look that up.
Fruits Basket is one of the first animes I've ever watched, and what ultimately got me into anime. Angel Beats has a lot to do with the reason I got into anime too.
Yeah, actually, I think
My heart.
everyone, Angel Beats. That was like my third anime I watched or something, yeah. Great starter anime.
For me, my first anime I ever watched was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Did I watch the original? Yeah, no, I watched Brotherhood first and then the original.
I could
that's
not
weird.
get into FMA. I don't know why.
I loved it. And then I ended up watching like, what was it, over 360 episodes of Bleach or something.
God.
It was, they went on another story arc and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is over. We're done. We're calling it.
I'm done, boys.
Yeah, I can never. Like, the longest series of anime was only in my childhood. So I'm talking the original Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha. There's also this was really old. It's like the Zodiac's Nights. That was ridiculous. And then there was Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh's still definitely an anime.
Oh yeah. I guess then that would be probably Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli?
You mean Ghibli?
It's Ghibli, Baka! What are you doing disgracing their name? This is now public information.
Damn.
If you guys want to shame Vanilla BDSM, please contact him at Vanilla BDSM, either on the Twitch or Instagram, and please call him out on calling his
Instagram.
studio
My username is
Ghibli
actually TFJones24.
wrongly. Wait, what is it? Please repeat it.
TFJones24.
Yeah, there you go.
You need
thank
to
you for the
make
correction.
You need to make like an official Instagram and Twitter under the same name as your Twitch name, please. Thanks.
I don't want to do Twitter.
I'm gonna make
Just,
you.
I mean, you can just
We'll
have
see.
it.
But okay, so I hacked it up, but it's okay. I grew up on it. Whenever we would go to the library, I would
The Zodiac
always
Saint, yeah.
I'd get like 12 books and then like always would go grab a copy of My Neighbor Totoro. Like every single time. And my mom got so sick of it. But it was that and Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki.
Yeah, and I see with the comments like, my first anime was Your Lie in April. Dude, that's
like a definitely newer anime.
That's very new.
But still,
Yeah.
that's one hell of an anime to start you off, because it's a very emotional slice of life.
It reminded me
story.
a lot of Angel Beats.
No, I can see
Like
that. It was
a
just
more modern
realistic,
version.
though.
Angel
But
Beats.
Angel Beats.
My heart.
You know, honestly, like my counter to any like really sad thing that I'm watching, or really like, I don't know, anything that's like going really bad, is to just binge watch or in High School Host Club.
Me, literally.
Yes,
me.
we all love
Because it's just like,
Horan.
it's just so, it feels just so good. It's, yeah.
Horan
Oh
is
my
the
god,
best.
I
And,
love.
you know, I'm just super glad that whenever we run out of news topics, I think we should just become an anime podcast. I think that's really where we should go.
Yeah. What is your guys' favorite
relatable.
anime?
Yeah.
Favorite?
I don't know.
You gotta go with the top one.
I
Because
mean,
for me, it's definitely Do Ra Ra Ra.
then I gotta watch that if you highly recommend that one.
It is. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, it's been on my
Season
list.
2 went a little off the rails, but season 1, so good.
What I would say probably like recently, because I don't know if I can call it top one. Like maybe I'd like a top 5. I could make a list. Like I can't say number 1, but recently it's definitely been Kekai Sensen, which is Blood Battle Blockade.
Okay. Yep. That was a good one.
Yeah, that one's just not very well known, but it's so absolutely amazing. Soundtrack, everything, action, do it all right, and I love it so much.
I don't think
Also, I
I really
gotta
have
say,
a
like-
favorite, to be honest. I mean, Fruits Basket, Death Note, Angel Beats, those 3 hold a special place in my heart because they were some of the first ones I ever watched. And
Like one of my first ones was Guilty Crown.
Ooh,
and
that's a
Code
good
Geass.
one.
okay,
I like that one a lot.
so Kevin, you're gonna hate
Yes.
me, but Guilty
boy.
Crown I can't watch.
Why?
Why?
Same reason I can't play not Fortnite, Warframe.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's for off the record, but damn,
I know.
because it's a great starter anime too.
Yeah, it's really good. Let me think. What was I gonna say?
But yeah, Code Geass is the other one, just because like Code Geass is also a great starter because it has everything. You have a little bit of your like both sides of love. You have your mechs. You have the psychological plot. You have comedy. I don't know. It just throw in everything, and it's very nice and great. You know, wraps
Yeah.
up pretty nicely in the end.
Also, if you like dungeon crawler sort of animes,
There's quite a
like
bit
the
of those.
RPG based ones, probably the best one that I've found that's like very serious and
Oh, very
like
serious? Oh, shit.
the truest to the story that you can get is Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. It is also probably one of the prettiest animes I've ever seen.
But how about how to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Okay, that's very good, and it's very like I'm saying one that's not comedic. It's like very true to what would actually happen.
Isn't
'Cause, like,
Goblin Slayer supposed to be like that, or is it totally...
Goblin Slayer is based on D&D actually.
Oh shit! Never mind.
Like
Never mind.
it's very realistic for what it does, but no, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash is all of the characters just got like plopped into this place with no memory of who they were and like what they did before. And the first episode starts out with them like, not being able to kill a goblin.
Yeah, so
like a party of 6 or something, like not being able to kill a goblin.
Yeah, but then it's just like Konosuba, but not a sitcom. Just actually completely serious.
Yeah, it goes into like the moral repercussions of them trying to be adventurers, and like it's it's really good.
Oh man, we should probably maybe do like a unique anime episode or something like that in the future. But that is time. We have reached our time frame of 1 hour, so we're gonna exit off here and say goodbye to everyone. So I have been your host, King Kata, and you can find me on Twitch and over other social media, King_Kata. And then we also had Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at The Cuddly, but mostly Twitch and Twitter.
And then also Tanner or Vanilla.
Hi. So you can find me on Twitch at Vanilla BDSM, all lowercase, or on Instagram at TFJones24.
Yep, and then we shall all see you on episode 13. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye.